Hey guys, my name is Clifton. Welcome to another whiskey review. Today we're reviewing Legent Bourbon. So Legent is a bourbon that came out this year from the Jim Beam brand, and I've been really excited to try this one. I heard the story about it a while back, and I thought it was a really cool idea for Jim Beam. It's definitely something new and fresh that they're doing. So if you haven't heard of Legent, basically what it is a collaboration between Jim Beam and Suntory, which they're technically the same company, but Suntory is the Japan branch and Jim Beam is the American branch. So this one basically is a collaboration between Master Distiller of Jim Beam, Fred Noe, and the Chief Blender of Suntory, Shinji Fukuyo. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but yeah. So it's Jim Beam juice, but it's blended by the Master Blender or the Chief Blender at Suntory. And what they did was they took a 5-year-old Jim Beam bourbon, just the standard mash bill for regular Jim Beam. And what they did is they finished it in California wine casks and sherry casks. So being from California, that's pretty cool. I know wine finishing is becoming really popular around here, or at least just in bourbon in general. And yeah, I figured I would go ahead and give this a review. I'm going to pour myself a glass here and let's get into it. The color is not that much darker, even though it is finished in both wine casks and sherry casks. It doesn't really have too much impact on the color, at least from what I can see. But you get a ton of fruitiness on the nose. That's my favorite thing about this bourbon. It's something that you don't really get with sherry finished whiskey. I get it a lot when there's like port finished whiskey or brandy finished whiskey, like blackened. But yeah, I don't normally get this much fruitiness on a sherry finish. So I think that's the California wine that's imparting a really fruity, just a really good, like it's a bright fruit too. Like normally with bourbon, you get like a dark fruit note. But this is a really bright, like fresh strawberries, tart cherries. You get a lot of fruitiness like I've never gotten on a whiskey. So that's really exciting. I could see you being disappointed if you went into this thinking it was actually a Japanese whiskey blended with a bourbon, because it's not. It's still a bourbon. So the nose, it's not really, you don't get that honey kind of note that you get with Japanese whiskey, but it's so light. And that's what I think the Japanese blending has benefited this glass right here. It's just a really rich, bright flavor, and I'm really excited to see if it holds up in the taste. Wow, that is so good. That is, first of all, the oak is still there. That's my favorite thing about Jim Beam bourbon. It's got a really strong oakiness. Not necessarily their baseline Jim Beam, but like Knob Creek and Booker's. I get a lot of strong, like older, it tastes like an older whiskey. This does kind of taste a little bit more like the Jim Beam white labels and the black labels in terms of flavor profile. You do get a lot of the nuttiness, but that layer of sweet, like fruitiness really transforms this for the better. And I got this bottle for $35 at Costco. First of all, it's a cool ass bottle. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but like the picture is like the silhouettes of Fred Noe and Shinji Fukuyo. And the top of it, it has the Legent logo there in the middle, and then it says Kentucky and Japan. So I really like what went to this bottle. It's a really sexy bottle for $35. I mean, come on. The proofage of it, I would really like to see, although it is 94 proof. I was actually surprised. It's 47% alcohol. It drinks like a lower proof, which I guess is a good thing. I was about to say I'd like to try if they did like a cask strength release or something of this, that would really be an incredible whiskey, I think. But that's just because I'm biased towards higher proof stuff. But yeah, being 47%, I'm actually happy with that. I was thinking it was going to be lower because it drinks like it's like a 42%. It's not necessarily, the more I go to it, it's not really that older wood note. It's more of like a fresh, like I always say, like a Home Depot note. I really like the smell of like fresh cut wood, and I do get this on this, but it doesn't taste young or anything. I think it's just the way oak expresses itself with the fruitiness. It comes out kind of like a young, like a freshly cut piece of wood, or I guess sawdust, but like in a good way. So do I recommend Legent Bourbon for the price? If you can get it for $35, hell yes, pick it up, especially if you love Jim Beam and their other products. I've seen this go upwards of 50. I've seen it go up, I think 50 is the highest I've ever seen it. I would pay 50 for it, to be honest, at least to try it. I mean, it's something completely different from the brand, and I love that it's a celebration of Kentucky and Japan because both amazing cultures and both places I want to visit. So I'm excited about this release. Have any of you guys tried it before? If so, let me know what you think. I know there were some people that weren't so happy about this, and I think that's mainly because they might have been expecting it to be like a blend of Japanese whiskey and Kentucky bourbon. But I think for what it is, knowing that it's, it is bourbon, it's just finished and blended by the Chief Blender over at Suntory. I love this, and if I can find another bottle of it, I will keep this regularly stocked. I would love to just have this as my go-to sipping. Not really. I wouldn't really blend it with like cocktails or anything. I think you might lose a lot of the nuances of the sweet fruit flavors if you do that. But I think just as a sipping bourbon, this is really good. So you get a really good recommendation from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick review. I don't have much to say about it because it's just so good and it's so unique and it's definitely worth picking up. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to check out my other whiskey reviews, I'll have a playlist at the end of this video. And if you like what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. So still aiming for that, hoping to get to it in the next month or two. But yeah, I go live every Tuesday, new video every Friday, so I'll see you guys next week. Bye.